Hey, this is Jared over at eCarrierCheck, and I really want to help you explode into 2022. And so I have 5 tips for you that really will help change the way you looked at your past, but also it'll help you move into the future. And so I want to go through those things. But not, number one is let's look at your past. What have you done this year? In my opinion, you can't change the future if you haven't looked at the past. And so here's what I want you to reflect on. Here's what I do to reflect on things personally. What worked? If you look at your business, what worked? What was successful? Was there a certain segment? Was it a way you communicated? Was it a way you marketed? Is it a relationship that you got? Well, how did you get that relationship? So I really want you to look back at the year and say, okay, how did I find success, not only personally, but professionally? Okay. And it could be a different relationship that came into your life. It could be maybe some technology that you're using, no plug intended there, but you see where I'm going with that is maybe something that a tool that you put into your life made things easier to find carriers, to find owner operators, to find dispatchers, to find brokers, whatever it may be. And the reason why we want to look at what was successful is how do we replicate it going forward? How do we really hone in on, well, maybe I need to get better at social media, or maybe I need to get better at what I say in my emails or my texts. And so really evaluating success will allow you to springboard into the next steps of what's going to come, right? I also want you to look and evaluate what didn't work. What were some of your losses, or what were some of your challenges that just never really pulled together? And that could be the same things. That could be marketing. That could be relationships. Maybe it's a financial thing. What worked financially? What didn't? Right? And looking at those and saying, okay, how do I drop those? How do I get them out of my life? How do I redo the process so that I can go on and keep moving? In my opinion, I think it's important that you trim those things to make sure you have room to continue to grow. And so take the time to evaluate your losses and look at them in a personal standpoint as well as a professional standpoint, because those things when you get home after work are going to affect you no different than when you get to work that next morning, right? I also would really challenge you on how did you spend your time? If you went through your calendar, if I went through your calendar, you called and said, hey, Jared, let's go through my calendar and talk about time management or the way I spent my year, I can pretty much tell you what you focused on based upon your calendar, right? And you get better at anything you focus on. So in my mind, what did your calendar look like? What did your daily tasks look like? And here's the question that you need to ask yourself consistently. Is what I'm doing right now going to help move my goals? Is what I'm doing next week, is it going to help me move my goals? I know plenty of people that work 12-hour days, right? 15-hour days, 16-hour days. But action isn't necessarily going to get you to your goals. So evaluate it and say, okay, am I going to drive revenue from this? Is this going to help with my operations? Is this going to help me get set up with somebody, right? I really think it's important that you look at your calendar and say, okay, did I use my calendar for time management? And did the tasks that I put on that calendar, did they help me move closer to my goals? So there's number one, okay? Number two, what is your vision? Where are you going in 2022? What's your plan? Where do you want to go? Obviously, we've had a year to look back. We talked about going back and looking, but what do you want to visually, what do you want to do? Where do you want to go, right? I think it's important, A, that you write down your goals, write down your visions, write down what you want to accomplish. What's the ultimate outcome? Are you doing this because you love trucking? I mean, you love dispatching, you love brokering? Are you trying to just make a difference in your life financially, right? Or in some cases, this is the drill in the hole, right? Sometimes you go buy a drill bit, but the outcome that you really want is the hole. So I want you to think about what your vision is. What's your hole, right? And write those things down. Write down your goals and keep it simple. I'm a blue collar guy just like you. And in my opinion, the simpler, the better. because I just don't have the capacity to handle it complex, right? But if you write down 3 goals, 5 goals, keep it simple. It's the person you become while you're trying to reach your goals that's more important than you actually reaching your goals. I really, truly believe that. So write down your vision, write down your goals, and where you're going. That's number 2. Number 3 is, what is one skill, personally and professionally, you want to work on? And how do you get there? I'll give you mine. I'll tell you what mine is this year. I'm working on trying to communicate better. Sometimes I struggle with communication. I get too busy. I'm not in the present, and I'm not listening. So I need to get better on communication. That's a personal and a professional goal. But I think it's important that you recognize skills that you can get better at. That could be anything. I talk to a lot of people. That could be marketing. That could be how to use Instagram. That could be how to make a YouTube video, right? That could be a lot of different skills, but how do you get better personally and professionally? One skill. Keep it simple. And write down, how are you going to get there? What tools are you going to use to get better at it? And what's your time frame? If you use those things with your goals, you got your goals we already set. Now we're talking about one skill that you personally and professionally want to change. And it's just adding a small habit to your daily task to make you maybe feel more confident. Maybe it's a way of just, listening to people better, right? So I really want you to work on that one skill. Number 4, how do you stay focused? Every day, we're swiping up and down, we're touching our phone, we're going through the motions of being on social media. So how do you stay focused? How do you stay focused on your goals and vision? And I asked that question earlier, is what I'm doing right now, is that going to affect my goals long term? Is it going to help me long term, right? So how do you keep yourself accountable? Find people that you can have around you. Find some mentors. We wrote out your goals. You wrote out your skills. Who are you going to share that with? Find somebody. Find a mentor. Pay a mentor. I don't care how you get a mentor, but you need somebody in your life to bounce ideas, to reevaluate, and just hold you a little bit more accountable. Believe me, I struggle with discipline. I struggle with accountability. I enjoy swiping on TikTok. I like watching YouTube videos. But there's times that you've got to stay focused, and here's how I recommend doing it, okay? Number 1, start to time block your day. Maybe the mornings are meant for reaching out and building new relationships, and you block that in your calendar. Building relationships, and here's the 15 people I'm calling, right? If you time block your segments through the day, it'll eventually become a habit. So the mornings are for relationships. Maybe the afternoons are for building marketing content or reaching out to somebody different. Maybe instead of carriers, maybe it's the people around you that you need, or lawyers, or insurance, or other. Maybe it's your clients, whatever it may be. But find some time management skills, and I recommend doing time blocking, and that can be done in sales with hey, today I'm going to do research. Tomorrow I'm going to do all my calls. Right? The next day I'm going to work on building relationships with the vendors I've already developed. And that could be, maybe it's your fuel guys or your insurance guys. I truly believe that we all could get just a little bit better. And if there is time for your phone, put it in your time block. I also believe in social media. This is how we grow our business. So put it in your time block and make sure that you're using your time more effectively this year. The other thing I want you to think about is you got your goals, you got your one skill. What happens when everything derails or you get punched in the gut? Maybe you lost a client. Maybe you just got an email saying that your insurance is going up too much. Or there's a lot of things that can take you off task, or there's a lot of things that can just truly derail everything that's going on. And you're like, I'm not looking at my goals, okay? I can tell you, if we look at like let's use sports for example. If you look at Nick Saban, okay? Nick Saban has built an incredible career out of making better halftime adjustments than his opponents. How many times in halftime has he been down? And what does he do when he goes into halftime? He sits there and he says, okay, I need to make some adjustments and I need to change the direction our team is going. And maybe I need, instead of running, a man coverage, I need to go to that team coverage function or something to that extent, right? So I'm not saying you're Nick Saban, but when you get a punch in the gut, take a second to reflect. Think about that moment, that loss possibly, that challenge that's just been put in front of you, and figure out how to make a halftime adjustment. I can tell you something that was really interesting in my life is a couple years ago I lost our number one account when I was brokering, right? And that account accounted for quite a bit of revenue. And you sit there and go, oh man, what am I going to do now? Well, I'm truly a believer in taking massive action, controlling my time. And within 6 months, we were able to make up that revenue because we added so many more accounts. Is there a possibility of you getting that same gut punch? Absolutely. There's always something that could come up. It could be personally, too. It could be COVID. It could be a passing in your family. But I want you to just take all those things into consideration when you're looking and saying, how do I stay focused? And how do I hold myself accountable? Get your guys a coach. Get yourself a coach. I really, truly believe in that. And number 5, this is probably the secret to everything. This is how I live my life. This is how I teach my kids, is how do you add value to people? Every day you need to add value. Every day you need to reach out to them and say, what can I do to help you? And that could be with your trucks that you're running, with your drivers, with your employees. That could be with your clients. How do you add value? How do you add value to all those people? Let's communicate. Let's educate. Let's take the time to be present and listen. Every day you need to ask yourself, how do I add value to someone in my life around me? I truly believe that you are one relationship away from growing your business, from growing personally. And so you need to continue to look to add value to others. This will help grow you into next year. I promise you that. Zig Ziglar said, when you help people accomplish their goals, you'll get the goals that you want as well. So those are my 5 things, guys. I really want you to have a successful year. I'm excited that you're in business, that you took the step to be an entrepreneur, and you're brokering, you're dispatching, you're running a trucking company. And I'm excited for that for you. So have a wonderful new year. Good luck in 2022. And thanks for subscribing to our YouTube channel. Have a good day, guys.